Good day, brothers and sisters. This is your brother Rams here. And as usual, I'm glad to be back on the airwaves. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for their support. And I'm going to start off with what the topic's going to be about. So I'm going to use with words that's used in this topic. And it's going to be about Kwanzaa because today is the first day of Kwanzaa. And Kwanzaa, I'll explain it to you. It runs from December 26th to January 1st. But before we get into Kwanzaa and what it means, I'd like to say the word for today. When you greet someone during Kwanzaa, you say this word, Habaragani. And Habaragani means, what's the word? And I'm going to get into all of that. But before we even get into all of that, I got to go over some of this political sauce that's been happening out here today. So I'm going to start off with, first and foremost, we're talking about our president, Mr. Trump. Okay, it's very important that we understand this. Because Mr. Trump is getting a lot of flack about his handling of several things, especially this Venezuelan thing. And it's really scary because he's heading us toward war. And it's a war that we won't win. Guaranteed. It'll just drag on and on. Some experts say it'll be another Vietnam. Fighting in thick rainforests. The other side's going to deal with a lot of guerrilla warfare. A lot of innocent American soldiers will be killed. We'll wind up having to do a lot of bombing and killing. Again, for what? I told you for what. It's for the oil. It's not about drugs. Again, it's not about drugs. That is the big lie. It's not about drugs. Why? He pardoned the ex-president of Honduras, Hernandez. Remember, he smuggled, over 400 tons of cocaine into America. And like he said, he going to stuff the cocaine up the gringo's nose. He going to stuff the cocaine, the perico, the cocaine up the gringo's nose. He said this. He was convicted in a U.S. court for 45 years. Federal. That means he'd have to do at least 43. Killer of American people. Stone killer. Poisoning the people. But what? Trump pardoned him. A drug dealer. A drug trafficker. But yet and still, he continues to bomb them boats. Now let's take a look at him bombing these boats. First and foremost, there's no proof that they're actually drug boats. There's no proof of that. There's absolutely no proof that these are drug boats. That unto itself is illegal. You presented no proof to the public. You presented no proof to the public. But as I said, this isn't about drugs. That's the what I call it, tricknology. They got you believing that it's to help the poor kids on drugs, the poor families that have been afflicted by drugs, but it's really about stealing them people's oil. And the thing about Madero's is that he wants that oil for his people, so his people can survive. I don't see too many uprisings in Venezuela, I'm being honest. I don't see too many uprisings in Venezuela. Oh, the people really hate him. They really want him out. I don't see it. He wants to use their resources for them. And remember, I mentioned a couple other leaders who wanted to do that, and they wound up being replaced. They wound up being replaced, brothers and sisters. And that's very important to understand. Remember, I mentioned a gentleman, Salvador Allende, in Chile. Salvador Allende in Chile. What did he want? He wanted the resources of Chile to go to the Chilean people. Another, South American. Salvador Allende. Like I said, Salvador Allende. Another brother, but he was in Africa. His name was Patrice Lumumba in the Congo. Again, he wanted the Congo's resources, gold, oil, all those minerals and stuff. He wanted those to go to help build his people. He was a Pan-Africanist. He was about Africa for Africans. Remember, Trump's thing is America for Americans. Well, can't the Africans be for Africans? He was a Pan-Africanist. Africa's resources for Africans. Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me, brothers and sisters. But again, America has presented no proof that these drugs are actually drug boats. And as I said, they do this because they want to go in there and steal that oil. And what Trump has done now, he's ramped it up. He's turned into a pirate. He's going to take the tankers. He's going to confiscate the tankers. I don't understand. It's really ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. He confiscated 2 oil tankers recently. The first one he said is sanctioned was selling sanctioned oil. They were carrying sanctioned oil. What does that mean? It means it wasn't going to who it was supposed to go for. Let me give you a little information, my brothers and sisters, black, brown, and everybody in between. There's so many ghost ships out there, it's shameful. Rand Paul, you know Rand Paul, Senator from Kentucky. He even said there's between 20 and 30 countries that got all kind of ghost ships floating around in the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean and all the oceans. So he going to stop all of them? 20 to 30 countries. And by the way, the 2 suppliers of drugs to America are what? China and Mexico. You're not confiscating and seizing their tankers because you don't know which tanker's which. You're not placing a blockade on their tankers coming in and out of their countries. You better not, especially China. Because remember, they're not supposed to be buying Russian oil. Remember, you got a sanction against Russian oil? China's still getting that oil. China's still getting that oil. Mexico's still getting oil. And oh yeah, by the way, brothers and sisters, we got a lot of oil from Canada. We used to, but now he turned Canada into one of our enemies. So this is very disturbing, brothers and sisters. It's very, very disturbing. Because now we have our president. He's now going after a black country. Uh-oh. What do you mean, Brother Ram? He's going after a black country. All right? Guess what that country is? Nigeria. Now, again, you got to have technology. You got to make it sound like it's okay, but there's a sinister reason behind it. Did you know one of the main resources in Nigeria is what? Take one guess. It's oil. But what's the technology? Well, these ISIS terrorists, see, blame it on some terrorists. These ISIS terrorists are harming the Christians over there. So I just bombed Nigeria. Oh, really? Brothers and sisters, I'm going to pull your coat to this foolishness right now. We have a white supremacist in the White House. He's a white nationalist. And he's really trying to spark a race war around the world. That's what he's sparking, a race war. Because now he's going after black people as well. He went after brown, still going after brown, now he's going after black. Bombing Nigeria? That should automatically bring outrage. I don't give a damn if they are harming Christians. You know why it's a hypocrisy? Not saying I don't care about the Christians, but it's a hypocrisy, damn it. Let's refresh your memory, America. Remember the recent war in Gaza, in Palestine? Remember? Gaza Strip, Palestine? Israel killed thousands and thousands of innocent Palestinian women and children, man. He didn't go bomb Israel. And these people were Muslim. He didn't have any sympathy for the Muslims that that war criminal Benjamin Netanyahu, starving babies and children, people going to get food and he shoot them down dead. You didn't send no bombs into Israel. Hypocrisy, brothers and sisters, and I want you to see right through it. When he talks about Nigeria, they was bothering the Christians, so I had to stick up for the Christians. No, you didn't. You don't give two damns about a Christian. What Bible do you read out of? Like all of a sudden you so holy Christian. Why do you think the Pope don't come here? He knows you run a house of devils, the way you treat immigrants, God's creatures. What Christian are you? I say, what Christian are you, damn it? I tell all my brothers and sisters, go to your holy book, no matter who you are, and see what your book says about the mischief maker and the bloodshedder. He's a mischief maker and a bloodshedder. And oh, by the way, the ICC, the International Criminal Court, has called Netanyahu a war criminal. Guess what Trump does? He says, Netanyahu, me and you, we got to sanction the ICC. Get them. We don't want them talking about our war crimes. Because Trump's a war criminal too. But he's doing to Venezuela, these are war crimes. Because there's no proof of anything. But this is the cowardice of our American government. They just sit there knowing it's illegal. No one has ever quoted any legality that says he has the right to just bomb people and kill them. And as I've said before, brothers and sisters, I'm going to break it down. In my humble opinion, because I got to say that because they say, oh, that's defamation. In my humble opinion, one man's opinion, the three people responsible for this mess right now in America, the number one on the list is Merrick Garland. He's the first. He's not the only one, but he's the first. Because if he had done what he was supposed to do as Attorney General, we wouldn't be in this mess. If he had arrested this treasonous, this insurrectionist like he should have, when he got off that plane, America would have been better off today. But God allowed it to happen. So God has a bigger plan. There's a bigger plan for America. But America had to be punished too, because they wouldn't listen. Who's second? The second person is Mitch McConnell. In my opinion, he allowed Trump to put 3 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court within a 4-year span, thus stacking the Supreme Court. That's why he's so quick. I'm going to go to the Supreme Court. I'm going to go to the Supreme Court because he got all his lackeys and flunkies there. They're not interested in giving out justice. They turned around and made him almost untouchable with some of their rulings, the Supreme Court. Now you understand Brother Rams' push for term limits from the Supreme Court on down. There's got to be term limits so we don't get no more stacking of the Supreme Court like we did. And I told you under Rams system, it's you alternate parties. A vacancy comes up, Republican. Vacancy comes up, Democrat. Vacancy comes up, Republican. So forth and so on. It alternates. So you don't get one president stacking anything. And then the third person, in my opinion, is Sleepy Joe Biden. Because he was so nervous about making it seem like he's going after his political opponent that he didn't have the gonads to say, hell with that. He just tried to attack the Capitol and destroy democracy. He's going to jail. Merrick, go get him, put him in jail. Oh, it's unprecedented. Oh, you damn right it is. Well, we don't want the world to be laughing at us. We done put our president in jail. They're laughing at you anyway. With this guy in office. They're laughing at you anyway, brothers and sisters. So you must understand this. He's taken over. He wants the oil out of Venezuela. Now he's going after Nigeria. And Nigeria, again, oil-rich nation. Nigeria is part of OPEC. Part of the OPEC nations. They produce a lot of oil. And that's what he wants. Because America doesn't have the oil to produce enough for its own country and then to sell around the world because there's too much competition. And like I said, these ghost ships that he's talking about, he sounds crazy. There's all kind of ghost ships. You ain't attacking the ghost ships that are going to China or Mexico. Them tankers were all throughout the seas. Like I said, Rand Paul, he said between 20 and 30 countries got ghost ships floating all around the ocean. So what is it about? Again, it's about the resources of the country. And that's why he wants Maderos out. And I told you, he thinks that he can just run in there, bomb some little peanut-like drug dealers, if that's the case. Again, we still don't know that's the case. And that's the thing that confounds me. Nobody in the American government saying, hey, there ain't no proof of that. There isn't any proof of anything. We got to put a stop to this. And some judge got to put the stop and say, you better not bomb not one other boat. I don't care what jurisdiction you think you have. You said you're declaring war on them. You can't declare war. You need the approval of the Congress. So if it ain't a war, what are you doing then? You just can't attack people. And this is what we must understand, brothers and sisters. This is very, very critical here. Because we have a lunatic white supremacist and white nationalists in the White House. That's important. We must understand this. And again, it's not easy. It's not easy because we're in a bad, bad situation here in America. Because tariffs, the economy's not doing that great, even though we try to say, oh, it's the greatest it's ever been. Ever since I took off, it's the great economy now. It is a great economy. Guess for who, though? It's not for you and me. No. It's for rich white people. Let's tell the truth. It's designed to put more money in the pockets of rich white billionaires and millionaires. That's a great economy. That's why you can say that. It's not meant for you or I, just like that ballroom they building. It's not meant for you and I to go sit up in there. No, it's not. But he's using you. He says his private donations. Then how come the price keep going up? If I'm a donor and I donated $200, and then you come back and tell me, no, we really need $400, then I'm going to say, whoa, 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 what did you do with the $200? And that's what we need to understand, brothers and sisters. But brothers and sisters, right now I'm going to pivot because I just had to get into the little bit of political sauce there for a minute. Got to do that because the politics affect us all. All right? The politics affect us all. But I'm getting into Kwanzaa now. The history of Kwanzaa. Okay? And what does Kwanzaa mean? It means first fruits. Okay? What is Kwanzaa? First of all, let's give you the history, because I got to give you history, brother. That's your brother Rams. He got to give you the history behind it so you understand it better. It was established in 1966 by Dr. Maulana Karenga. In 1966, it was established by Dr. Maulana Karenga. And who was he? He was a professor of African studies. It was created. Oh, listen to that word, created. That's one of the principles in Kwanzaa, but we'll get to that. It was created following the 1965 Watts riots to unite African Americans. It was created by Dr. Maulana Karenga. Brother, he created it. All right? He created Kwanzaa in 1966. And he did this for African Americans to honor their African heritage and foster racial pride. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Remember, James Brown was close to that time too. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. So we coming up with our own, doing for self. Pay attention as I go along here. All right? The name and its symbols come from the Swahili language. It comes from the Swahili language. Kwanzaa, it means first fruits. Okay? It means first fruits. And what is it? It's an annual week-long celebration of African American culture, heritage, and community observed from December 26th to January 1st. That's a week. That's 7 days. Keep note of that. It's an annual week-long celebration of African American culture, heritage, and community observation from December 26th. That's today. Starts today. Habaragani, brothers and sisters. Habaragani. What does that word mean, Brother Rams? It means, what's the word? I'm going to get into that in a minute. But Habaragani is what's the word. And then I'm going to give you a demonstration on how you can conduct Kwanzaa at your house. But the beauty of Kwanzaa is that it has some flexibility for your family. There's some framework to it, but then it has flexibility. And that's the beauty of our creation, because we create things that we can adapt to and we can maneuver in. And that's what Kwanzaa is about. First fruits. All right? Is a cultural, non-religious holiday based on African harvest festival traditions. African harvest festival traditions. Because over in Africa right now is harvest season. It would be the equivalent of when the farmers start picking their crops. Okay? And they rely on this thing called Kwanzaa, which means the first fruits. That means the fruits of their labor. But we're going to go over, the symbols. Okay? We're going to go over the symbols because that's important that you understand what this is all about. You got to understand exactly what it's all about. Brothers and sisters, I got notes here because I'm teaching. I got to teach, so I got to have my notes. But bear with me as usual. Bear with me, brothers and sisters. Because, like I said, we're going to learn some more history about ourselves. We're going to learn some history about ourselves, brothers and sisters, and that's beautiful. We created this Kwanzaa. But like I said, over in Africa now, it's harvest time. It's harvest time. And so what does that mean? That means that we're gathering the crops, We planted the seeds, we work together, we harvest the crops, and finally at the end we have our first fruits, our Kwanzaa. Okay? And that's important to understand. Very important to understand. Getting my notes here together. Getting my notes together, brothers and sisters. So just bear with me for a second. I'll be there. I'll be in my notes. All righty. First and foremost, Kwanzaa. Like I said, it means first fruits. And I'm going to show you some of the things associated with Kwanzaa. They have a meaning. Everything is strategic. It's just not haphazard. It's strategic. All right? I'm going to show you some things. The first thing that you lay out is the mat. The mat is called the makeka. You lay all your symbols of Kwanzaa on this makeka. And I'm going to show you what a makeka look like, brothers and sisters. Hold on one second, because I got one up here. This is a makeka. You see? You spread it out. Usually bigger than this. It's a makeka. But you lay all your symbols on this, brothers and sisters. This is a makeka. Okay? What does the makeka represent? Because these are all symbols. So they represent something not just physically itself, but it has another meaning. That's what a symbol is. A makeka. It represents the foundation. And it's our tradition and history. The foundation on what we build, that's makeka. It's our foundation. So everything we build starts with the foundation. That's the makeka. We put all our symbols on top of the makeka, the mat. But we don't call it mat because it's in Swahili. So it's makeka. That's our language. Makeka. It's the foundation from which everything springs. Now, also, later on, it came to mean it's the mother. It has another symbolism. It's the mother. Because remember, we all came from a woman. Yes, you did. You came from a woman. So she laid the foundation. So now it has a dual symbolism. It's our foundation, and it also represents the mother of the family. The makeka. That's the first. All right? From there, we have the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Remember, December 26th to January 1st is 7 days. So we now have 7 principles of Kwanzaa. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa are called the Nguzo Saba. Listen to what I said. I'll say it again. The 7 principles are the Nguzo Saba. The 7 principles of Kwanzaa. And each day represent a different principle. Okay? Each day represent a different principle. So the next thing on the mat, you got the mat, the makeka. Now you have what is called a kanara, not menorah. That's another part of our history. But this is the kanara. And I'm going to show you what a kanara looks like. This is a kanara, brothers and sisters. If you notice, it has 7 places for candles. It represents the candle holder is called the kanara. And it holds the 7 principles. All right? It holds the 7 principles. Now, I'm going to show you the candles. I can't put them in right away like that, but It goes something like this. You got goes something like this. Just be patient with your brother. It's got 7 candles. Homeboy done fell out. I'm putting it on there the best I can, brother. But you get the idea. And then the black one sits in the middle. Now, if you notice, I don't have it exactly. A couple of candles are missing, but that's how it's set up. There's another one here. Another one here. And there's 7 candles. Each one of these candles represents a principle of Kwanzaa. Okay? And the candles themselves are called the Mushima Saba. The principles themselves are the Nguzo Saba. But the candles themselves are the Mushima Saba. And each night you light 1 candle. There you go. 7 candles, 7 principles. But Brother Rams, why are they red, black, and green? Knowledge. What do they represent? Remember, these are symbolic. The color is symbolic. The first is the red. Let me back up. The first is the black one in the middle. See the black? That's the black one right there. The black one represents the people. The Asiatic black man. That's you. It represents the people because this is a holiday for us. Now they say, well, Ram, you just said it's non-religious. Well, brother, I don't know about you, but I don't know nothing that can happen without God being part of it. So the way I start my Kwanzaa is I always start it with a prayer because nothing happens without God. But that's the flexibility. Now, if you don't want to say a prayer, you don't have to. See, I told you this flexibility. Okay? Now remember, the candles are called the Mushima Saba. The 7 principles are called the Nguzo Saba. And they are held by the Kanara. Okay? They are held by the Kanara. So this is what your setup should look like so far. You should have a mat with your Kanara and your 7 candles, red, black, and green. All right? Black is for the man. Red is for the blood of our people that was shed, hopefully not in vain. Hopefully not in vain. And you hear me say this about the green, and this is why I push term limits. It comes from the principles of Kwanzaa. The green represents the grass, but it also represents the youth and new ideas. Now you understand why I say we must have term limits. We got to have new ideas coming up all the time. Not these same old fuddy-duddy buzzards. The Grassleys and the Lindsey Grahams and the Pelosi's and Chuck Schumer's and all them. They got to have a term limit, baby. New ideas. New ideas on the Supreme Court. New ideas in Congress. Now you understand why I say the new ideas must come from the youth. You old heads get settled in your ways. I got to tell you the truth. You get settled in your ways. And that's not good because it slows down progress. It keeps you from moving where? Forward. It keeps you from moving forward, brothers and sisters. It keeps you from moving forward. And we have to understand this. This is very, very important. The red, black, and green. The Kanara. Now, also on your mat, your makeka, gotta say the right word, makeka, you should have a bowl of fruit. This is the fruit. I got some blueberries here and I got some pears. But the fruit, what is it called? What is it called? It's called the mazao. Mazao. But mazao, that's the actual fruit. They symbolize African harvest celebrations and the rewards of productive and collective labor. Everybody working together. This represents the year-long work of planting, harvesting, taking care of, and we all work together. I'm going to show you how it all comes together in a minute. But again, this is the actual fruit. This is the actual fruit of your labor. That's the symbolism. Of course, sometimes it's fruit, but sometimes it's vegetables. It could be cattle. Anything that you produce by working together. Hold on to that thought because I'm coming back with that. Okay? I'm coming back with that. The 7 principles, again, are represented by the 7 candles. And as I said, the Nguzo Saba is the principles. The Mishima Saba are the actual physical candles. All right? This is the framework of the matrix and minimum set of values which African people are urged to live by. Working together collectively. One goal. That's what the Nguzo Saba principles are about. And I'm going to let you know that in a minute. All right? And they do this in order to rescue and reconnect their lives in their own image and according to their own words. So in other words, they're going to define themselves. They're going to define themselves. What this does is Kwanzaa focuses on reconstructing the black man's life in his own image, not someone else's image, and according to their own needs. According to their own needs, brothers and sisters. The principles, like I said, are called they're called the Nguzo Saba. And the actual candles are called the Mishima Saba. Now remember, this is the Kwanzaa sitting on your makeka. So let's go over that real quick because I'm teaching today, so I got to recap and re-go over to make sure all my students and people listen so they can get an idea. What does Kwanzaa mean? It means first fruits. It means first fruits. What do you lay all your symbols on? A makeka. A makeka is the foundation from which we spring. And it also is now taking on the meaning of the mother. Because from her, everything springs. We have the candle holder, the kanara, that holds the 7 principles. The candles themselves are called the Mishima Saba, but the principles are called the Nguzo Saba. Also, on your, like I said, on your makeka, you got to have your first fruits. The mazeo. The mazeo means first fruits. This is the actual, what you've worked on all year. This is the result of your labor and your cooperation and your unity and self-determination. This is the fruits of it. Literal, not literally per se, but figuratively. But it's also literal because you have it on the table. The mazeo. The mazeo. What's another symbol you should have on the table, Brother Rams? Another symbol you should have on the table is this. It's an ear of corn. Muhindi. It's called the muhindi. That's the corn. The muhindi is symbolic of the number of children in the household. Let me give you an example, brothers and sisters. So how many muhindis should you have on your mat? Depending how many children you have. If you got 2 children, 2 corn. 4 children, 4 corn. 7 children, 7 corn. But Brother Rams, what happens if I don't have a child? You always have 1. Why so? Because there's always a potential for a child. Because God is great. Isn't he? You go all these years, no children. Next you know, God say, boom. And next you know, honey, I'm pregnant. What? You ain't been pregnant all these daggone years. I'm pregnant, honey. God is great. So now you got 1 child. So every Kwanzaa, you put 1 there until you have a child. Then you put 1, and if you have a couple more, how many children you have, you always put the number of children that you have. And if you have absolutely none, you only put 1, which symbolizes the potential for another child, for you to have a child. And it don't have to be natural birth. See, people say, well, you know, I can't have kids due to an operation or an accident. You still can have a child. You've heard of the word adoption. You can adopt a child. So you have a muhindi. A muhindi. And in my case, I'd have 4. That's the corn. It represents the children. It symbolizes the children. Okay? It symbolizes the children. Now there's something else here. It's very important. On your makeka. Remember, everything's laid out on the makeka. This is called Kakombe Cha Nyumoja. Kakombe Cha Nyumoja. What's that, Brother Rams? It's called the Unity Cup. It's called the Unity Cup. And you drink out of it. Now, in our family, we drink out of it on the 6th day. And when I finish, I'm going to go through a mock simulation of how your Kwanzaa should go, with variations, of course. So what happens is we usually do our Kwanzaa, we drink from the Kakombe Cha Umoja on the 6th day. That's creativity. That's Kaumba. There's that word, creativity. Created our own Dr. Maulana Karenga. He created his own black man. See? On that day, now technically it's supposed to be oxen blood. But you know, you can't go to the store and get you a gallon of oxen blood. So we usually substitute it with some kind of red drink. Okay? And this is what you do. You don't drink from this every day. It's only one day. Now, again, some people may drink from it every day. But before you drink, you got it, quote, oxen blood in there. And what you do is you give libation to one of the ancestors that passed before you. Let me give you an example. So the cup is filled up with oxen blood. Before I take a sip, I say to our ancestor, Uncle Ralph, may you rest in peace, Uncle Ralph. You drink, and then you say this after you drink. Harambe! Which means, let's get together. I'll say that again. You give libation to one of the ancestors, the nana, the grandpa, to my mama, to my daddy, to my cousin Ricky. You pour a little bit. You don't pour it out, but you say their name. And then you take a drink, a sip, and you say, Harambe! Which means, let's get together. Now, there's some things that you got to understand now. Everyone can't drink off the cup because there's a chance of getting sick. So what we do is if you got a cold or you're not really, down for it, you just do this. You fake it and then you just say, Harambe! So that way we don't want you sick. We don't want you sick, brothers and sisters. So we say Harambe, which means let's all get together. Now, again, that's the unity cup. It's called what? Kakombe cha Umoja. Kakombe cha Umoja. The unity cup. That sits on the makeka. Now remember, the makeka got a lot of stuff on it right now. It's got the fruit. It got the corn. It's got the candle holders. The candle holder with the candles. And of course, it has the Kwanzaa, the mazeo, the fruits of our labor. And that's important for us to understand. So these are the symbols that sit on the mat. All right? So right now, we got to go down and deal with the principles. What are the principles of Kwanzaa? And this is very important. This is why it's essential, black man and woman, that you work on Kwanzaa, because Kwanzaa is our salvation during this dark time. With a white supremacist in the White House, racial hatred everywhere, especially toward the dark people. This is what's needed for our people. It's essential to our survival because in essence, it does teach you how to survive, how to work together. Now, these principles, they're not just haphazard. I must emphasize that. These principles are actually built on previous principles. One builds on the others. The others build on the one prior to it. So the very first thing, the very first principle is called Umoja. It stands for unity. Uh-oh. Why is that first? Because if you can't come together, damn it, you can't get nothing done. I'm going to give you an example of it in a minute. Umoja, unity. To strive for and maintain, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, in the community, nation, and in our race. We got to be together, baby. That's the first piece. Nothing else works. You got to have unity. How many of y'all heard of Tulsa, Oklahoma? Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay? Important. Why? Because they didn't have the money we have. But guess what they had that you don't have? And that's unity and love for their what? And love for their family, for their community, their nation, and their race. That's what brought them together. Unity, umoja. First principle of Kwanzaa. Because it builds, and from there, everything builds on top of unity. Once you come together, then we can build from there. What's the second one, brother? Kuji Chagalia. Second principle. Kuji Chagalia. What does it mean? It means self-determination. Uh-oh. What do you mean self-determination? To define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Self-determination. We're going to make the narrative about the black man, not others. What's the name of it? Kuji Chagalia. What's the first one? Unity. Second one, Kuji Chagalia. Self-determination. That's important to understand, brothers and sisters. The third one is called Ujima. Ujima, which means what? Collective work and responsibility. Hold up. Collective work. To build and maintain our community together. Wall Street sounds like that to me. The Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma. To build and maintain our community together and make our community's problems our problems and solve them together. We got to do this together. We got a crime problem in our community. Let's solve it together. We got a drug problem in our community. Let's solve it together. We got violence in our community. We got to solve it together. Collective work. And then we got to be responsible for what we put in to make it all work. The fourth principle is Ujamaa, cooperative economics. And this is critical. This is what I say all the time. To build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Let me say that again. To build and maintain our own stores and shops. You see a shop, someone done opened up something in the hood, patronize them. It might cost a little more, but go ahead. God will bless you with it. He gonna bless you. You spend money with your own, he gonna bless you. This is what God does. Because he knows what's in your mind. Your mind is to help your people. So that's Ujamaa. Again, unity, we come together. Kuji Chagalia, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Then once we got that going, let's spend among our own. Let's maintain our shops. And we all profit together. See? That's Ujamaa or Ujamaa. That's the fourth principle. Building on the previous three. What's the fifth principle? Fifth one. The fifth one is called Nia. And that means purpose. You got to have a purpose, black man. God gave you a purpose. If he could make a blade of grass have a purpose, you don't think his highest creation, he got a purpose for you? To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. Good God, Brother Ram, you got to say that again. What is the purpose? We got to have a purpose. We all have a purpose. And that is to make our collective vocation, our collective work, the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their proper greatness. You're great people. I say that all the time. I say this all the time, brothers and sisters. Your proper greatness. We're trying to restore that, and that's what Kwanzaa is doing. But look at what it's doing. It's bringing us together. We're going to be determined. We're going to have collective work and responsibility. We're going to spend among ourselves so we can profit among ourselves. And it's all done with a purpose, to restore our greatness. Go on, Brother Rams. That's Nia, purpose. The sixth one is Kaumba, creativity. Kaumba, creativity. What's creativity, Brother Rams? To always do as much as we can. Listen to this key point. To do as much as we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherited it. To make it better. Leave it better. If you leave it better, that's better off for your children, isn't it? To make it and leave it better. Brothers and sisters. That's what it's done. Kaumba. And in our family, like I said, what we do on the sixth day is we drink from the Kakombe Chai Umoja. And again, we give libation. We say Harambe. And since, remember, the sixth day is December 31st. That's New Year's Eve. So we give out this thing called Zawadis. What's Zawadis? Zawadis are gifts that you give, usually to your children. And if you don't have children, to someone in the community, someone in the family that best represents the principles of Kwanzaa. They've exhibited these qualities through the course of the year, but now you want to reward them. They could be your child, of course, or it could be someone else in the family, that they showed unity, self-determination, all of the above. Kaumba, creativity. All right? Now, on that sixth day, we have what is called the Karamu. The Karamu, Fiesta, Forever. You heard the song. But the Karamu comes from the sixth day of Kwanzaa. Remember, 6 days, Kaumba, creativity. A lot's happening that day. That's the feast. We celebrate it on Kaumba, the Karamu. Everybody contributes food. Normally, the circumstances, you go over different people's house and they provide food. I'm going to go through a mock Kwanzaa ritual to show you how this works. And I'll choose the sixth day to show you the whole ceremony. Okay? The sixth day. Everybody contributes food. And again, we give libation to the ancestors who went before us. And again, we take that drink and we yell out Harambe. And again, we give out Zawadis. Zawadis are gifts. They're gifts to the kids, your children, or anyone else who exemplifies the principles of Kwanzaa. Could be a niece, could be a nephew, could be a cousin. But someone who exemplifies those 7 principles of Kwanzaa all year long. So you give them a Zawadi. And technically, also it's supposed to be handmade. But we know in today's society, a lot of stuff you buy on your own. You buy it, give it. That's the other side of it. Okay. And now you go to the seventh day. Imani, faith. That's January 1st. Imani means to believe with all of our hearts in our people and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. We got to have faith that our struggle is righteous, and it is, black man, because the Almighty God is behind it. Imani, faith. That's important to understand. Imani means faith. That's the seventh principle. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's important. Remember, Tulsa, Oklahoma was built on them principles. I got to talk now. It's built on them principles. And what do you think you need right now? Why do you think I say this is essential? You need unity. You need self-determination. You need collective work and responsibility. You need cooperative economics. You got to have a purpose. And you got to be creative. Boy, we some creative people. Tell the truth. We are some creative people. You ever see them sapsuckers after they score a touchdown in the NFL? Them suckers come up with some stuff, don't they? Go back to baseball. One of them suckers hit a home run or something like that, they come up with all kind of dap, dap, dip, dap, and throw up there. I said, man, we some creative people. That's natural. That's natural. And then finally, we got to have faith. Faith in what? Faith in the good Lord. You got to have faith in the good Lord, baby, because he makes anything possible. So that's important to understand, brothers and sisters. So I'm getting ready to give you a little demonstration on how Kwanzaa goes. I mean, there's some variations. I'll talk about them, but I'll start from the very, very beginning. And so this is how it goes. All right. There's a knock on the door. Hello, it's your cousin Stevie. Okay, you go to the door. You open up the door and you say to your cousin Stevie, Habaragani. Habaragani. What's that mean, Brother Man? What's the word? And I'm going to use, the word will be Kaumba. So Stevie says, Kaumba. And you greet the brother. And what we do, again, there's some flexibility. Everybody take off their shoes. Take off your shoes, because that's in a lot of people of color's culture. You can't walk on people's floor with your shoes. You got to take your shoes off and leave them by the door. That's what I do. Take your shoes off. So I yelled to Stevie, Habaragani, and he yells, Brother Ram, Kaumba. Come in, take his coat. We sit down. There's probably other people there. And then where I started is, before we get started, brothers and sisters, I like to say a prayer. And I say, in the name of dear Almighty God, blah, 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 blah. And then I say, Amen. Okay? Then I'll say, Amen. And then I'll say, today is the 6th day of Kwanzaa. And the 6th day of Kwanzaa is the Kaumba and the Karamu. It's called Kaumba, but it's the Karamu that day. So more than likely, Stevie walked in with some food. I left that part out because now on the 6th day, we all contribute food. If it was just the other days, the host usually provides the food. But this day, everybody contributes at the Karamu. So now We sit down, and the word for today is creativity. So we go around the room asking, what does creativity mean? And then from the youngest to the oldest, we all talk about what does creativity mean to them. Okay? And of course, we are courteous of others. We don't overtalk them. We let them speak when it's their turn. And then when we allow others to speak, and then we get a chance to speak. And so now we've talked about what does creativity means. So now it's time for what? It's time to drink from the unity cup or the Kakombe Cha Umoja. And like I said, what you do is it's filled with oxen blood or something red. And before you drink out of it, you give libation. This is to Uncle Paul. This is to Auntie Karen. This is to Grandma. This is to Daddy. You give libation. Then you do what? You take a sip. And then you say what? Harambe! Which means let's get together. Means let's get together. Okay? So now we got that together. So what do? We now go over the principles of Kwanzaa and we light the candles. All right? Now, what we do in our family is this. We start from the youngest to the oldest that's there. Some families have gone the other way. They got started with the oldest and went to the youngest. But in our family, we start with the youngest. So we recite the principles. Now remember, this is the 6th day, so a young person, the very youngest person, lights the first candle. They light it, and then everybody says, Umoja, unity. They light that candle. Then here comes the next oldest. Kujichagulia, self-determination. The third one. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. That gets lit by a child. The fourth one, Ujama, cooperative economics. That gets lit by a child. The fifth one, Nia, purpose. That gets lit by a child. And then Kawumba comes. And someone likes that. And that's Kawumba. And then again, we do libation. We give thanks to the ancestors. And individually, you got to picture this. Individually, after I drink, I say Harambe, then I pass it. Drink Harambe. Give libation. To finally, everybody did libation. And then finally, we say this collectively. We all yell out, Harambe! Let's get together. As we lit the 6th candle. Now, what sometimes we do is we light the 7th candle even though we're not together. Usually what we do is we spend the 7th day at home reflecting on the first 6, praying to God that our hard work and collective responsibilities will all play off of the first fruits. So we stay home in our family. Okay? So we yell Harambe collectively at the end, but we yell it individually as we take our sip. Which means, again, let's get together. Okay? So now, the Zawadis. That's when you now... no, we don't give out Zawadis yet. I'm sorry. I got that. That's the last step. Now it's time to eat. How do you all do it? Well, we tend to do with African tradition, which is we feed the children, then the women's first, then the men's eat. Now, sometimes some people do the men's first, then the women's, then the children. But I like doing the children and the women first, then the men's. And then we have the women, they go in and they serve the food. Because remember, everybody bought a dish. They bought some food. So that everyone bring in, make sure we take care of the babies first. Then we take care of the women's. And then finally, you old head men's can eat. But that's making sure after everybody else is fed. Okay? And then after everybody eats, we're fellowshipping, we're talking. This is when you go get your zawadis and you hand them out. To those who what? Exemplify the 7 principles of Kwanzaa throughout the year. That exemplifies the 7 principles of Kwanzaa throughout the year. And that's important for you to understand, brothers and sisters. We do our work, we come together. But these 7 principles are what the black man needs right now. And I got to go to preaching right now because it's necessary. We have to. We had a white supremacist in the White House. He's attacking black people. He's basically trying to spark a racial war. I'm being honest with you. He's now bombing black people. You mean to tell me there's no white immigrants that are here illegally? No, it doesn't matter. Remember he got them South Africans? Nerve of him. That shows you he's a white supremacist. So we need that. And so I'm calling out 4 organizations like I always do. But right now, brothers and sisters, you in these organizations, you are going to a gunfight with a water pistol, brother, sister. I'm going to name them 4 organizations. The first one is the Congressional Black Caucus. What are you doing up there? You should be raising hell up there. And not just my sister warrior, Jasmine Crockett, who's running for senator. If you're down in Texas, vote for our sister. And if you're down in Texas and you see my brother Al Green, vote for him too. But Congressional Black Caucus, you're too quiet, man. You should be raising Cain, dude. This is a white supremacist. He's attacking us, obliterating us from the books. Taking our names and history, trying to wipe it out. You can't play fair with him. That's why I love my sister Jasmine Crockett, because she don't play fair. She hits him with the hardcore facts. I don't care about, the rhetoric you're using really is destructive. Hell, stop the president from using distasteful rhetoric. Mike Johnson called the woman reporter piggy. I didn't hear no rebuttal from you, Mike Johnson, or none of you Republicans. So don't be afraid to scream back at them. And Michelle Obama, I love your sister, your beautiful sister. But again, that when they go low, we go high. That played out, sister. I'm gonna give you a little word from the hood. Sometimes you gotta let a MF know that you's a MF also. I'll say it again. Sometimes you gotta let a MF know that you's also a MF too. And you ain't gonna put up with that sugar honey iced tea. You gotta let them know, man. You just can't say, well, I'll go high and he's dragging you through the mud. So that's important to understand, my brothers and sisters. We need unity. We need all of those 7 principles right now. They're essential to our survival during this time. And then at the end, what's the last one? Faith. Faith in what? Faith in who? Faith in the almighty, true, and living God. Man, it's time for all of us to stand up. Congressional Black Caucus, wake up. NAACP, wake up. You fought for us for so long. But now the fight has gotten heavier, man. These people trying to obliterate us. He's now going after Africa. Bombing Africa. Disgrace. Third organization. Black Lives Matter. Where you at, Black Lives? If Black Lives Matter, you awfully silent. If Black Lives Matter, you're awfully silent. We can't be silent no more, brothers and sisters. We just can't talk among ourselves. We got to come together. I told you, we need to meet, come up with a strategy against this wicked white supremacist. And the fourth is our sororities and fraternities. These are young people. We got to get them out there battling, baby. We got to get them out there battling. To let them know that we're not going to stand by, idly by, and let you destroy us. Like Yaas and Tewa. Like the Pharaoh Khufu. Like Akhenaton. Like Queen Nefertiti. Stand up! Up, you mighty race. You can accomplish what you will. The Honorable Marcus Garvey. Do for self and kind. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's time. Time for you black man and woman, get off your duff and let's get to working. Because right now the time is important because these folks are going after us. They've started war with the original people. Whether you want to, you can take it or let it alone, but it looks like war to me. Looks like war to me. And before I close out, I'm going to I gotta give you a little more black history. Remember I talked about Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street. And they used the principles of Kwanzaa, even though Kwanzaa hadn't come out yet. They used unity. They used self-determination. They used cooperative economics, definitely. They were creative. They had a purpose. But they most of all had faith in the true and living God. And that's what we need. That's what we need, brothers and sisters. I'm going to give you another group right now. Because like I said, black history is black history. And you know I love it. Robbins, Illinois, in 1931. What's that, brother? What was that about? Robbins, Illinois. It was a small, all-black town outside of Chicago. Okay. Robbins, Illinois, 1931. Look it up. I know you try to doubt your brother, damn it, but I'm telling you the truth. What's the truth going to do? Set you free. From what? The ignorance of darkness. Black aviators did something that white people refused to remember. Sounds familiar? This is 1931. They refused to remember Robbins, Illinois. Them black aviators, these are black aviators. They built and ran the world, they built and ran the nation's first black airport. What? Black airport? Yeah. Black aviators, Robbins, Illinois, 1931. See, black pilots, they were shut out. They were shut out of the white flight schools and barred from landing at white airfields. Think about it. They see a black man flying the airplane. Good God, you know how much that debunked white superiority seeing a black airplane pilot? They made a radical decision, these black aviators. They built their own airport. Is that one of the principles of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad? Do for self? Don't go begging Caucasian people when you can get off your behind and do for self. Asking Caucasians to do for you when you could get up off your butt and do for yourself. These black aviators said, okay, cool, no problem. They were led by two brothers. Here they go. I'm giving you their name. Look them up. The first one was name was Cornelius Coffey. Cornelius Coffey, and the second brother was John Robinson. Cornelius Coffey and John Robinson. They were black aviators. And this is what they did. They got black mechanics, engineers, pilots, and they cleared the land by hand and built a dirt runway. The brothers, what's that? Let's look at it. It's Kwanzaa in itself, damn it. Collective work and responsibility. What's that called? Ujima. Collective work and responsibility. And they built a runway. They opened Robbins Airport, and in America, it was the only fully owned and operated by black people. Robbins Airport, 1931. But see, it just wasn't an airfield. It was also a flight school. Remember, we'll teach our own. See, there's no wrong with that. We'll teach our own. White people teach their own. But remember what they always say when you go to teach your own? Oh, that's radical. Oh, no, that won't work. But then you say, but what school does your child go to? They go to such and such a school. What are most of the teachers? Well, most of the teachers are white. Oh, okay. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. But we want to be taught by our own people. Okay? But it wasn't just an airfield. It was, like I said, a flight school. A place where black aviators' dreams could finally take off. You can now become a black pilot. Good Lord, man. You know what that does? It debunks all kind of white superiority when it comes to the brain. Because they automatically assume that they got a more superior brain than you. And that could be no further from the truth because you were on the earth long before them. So your depth of your knowledge is greater than his will ever be. That's why they try to separate you from the knowledge. And that's why they don't want you to get the knowledge, because it may wake up your memory as to how great you truly were and still is, because you've survived. But you know, my Caucasian brothers and sisters, they have a problem when they see us successful, right? Tulsa, Oklahoma, Elaine, Arkansas, Rosewood, Florida. When they see us become successful, it does something to my Caucasian brothers. And that's something they got to look at within themselves. Why does the black man's success irk you so? A question you need to look at. So the surrounding white communities pushed back. And what they did, you know, they always do this to us. They arrested some of the black pilots. When they saw them landing, they go up and arrest them For what? In 1933, though, a powerful storm ripped through the airport and it destroyed it, and it never reopened again. It was open for 2 years, but a storm blew it away. But I want to say this. Those same aviators, guess what they did? They didn't just say, oh, well, that's it. No, they said they went on to train hundreds of black pilots. Right on, baby. Don't you love that? Storm don't stop us. What part of Kwanzaa is that, Brother Rams? It's called faith. Faith that God would rebuild them, to make something come out of nothing. And they wound up training hundreds of pilots. And guess what? Including men who would later become who? Tuskegee Airmen. A lot of them got their training right there at Robbins Airport. A lot of them got their training right there at Robbins Airport, brothers and sisters. They used the principles of Kwanzaa. Tulsa, principles of Kwanzaa. Do you see why it's essential now, black men and women, that you learn that? That you learn Kwanzaa and now apply it to this very day when you need it the most? You have it right there for you. Dr. Maulana Karenga, the brother, came up with the plan. All you got to do is execute it. And what's at the end? Faith in the true and almighty, because he is here. So as I say, my brothers and sisters, it's important that we realize that we have a rich history. We have a rich history. And like I said, we built a first fully owned black airport in America, Robbins Airport, out there in Illinois, right outside Chicago. So again, brothers and sisters, enjoy. You can play this tape all week. You can play this video all week because it gives you the instructions on how to Kwanzaa celebration. The first day, Baragani was what? It's unity. You light one candle. The second day is Kuji Chagalia. So now you light two candles. And then when it's all said and done, everybody recites the 7 principles together. What are they? I'll give them to you right off the bat before I close. Umoja, unity. Kuji Chagalia, self-determination. Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Ujama, cooperative economics. Nia, purpose. Kaumba, creativity. Imani, faith. Kwanzaa. So again, thank you, brothers and sisters. As I close with Habaragani, today's word is unity, umoja. So again, you can look at this video all week and it'll show you the rituals, what you got to do for a successful Kwanzaa. And by the way, like I said, there's certain tweaks you can do. Like I say a general prayer. Some may say a Muslim prayer. Some may say a Hebrew Israelite prayer. Some may say a Christian prayer. Some may not pray at all. Okay? Some may go from the youngest to the oldest. Some might go from the oldest to the youngest. There's all kind of flexibility in Kwanzaa to fit your family's needs. So again, till next time I see you, brothers and sisters, please be safe. May God bless you. And do the right thing, because God is always watching. Thank you.